शिंदे सर.
हाँ सर.
हाँ स्टार्ट करा.
ओके सर. Good morning to all of you. Today's guest, Honorable Dr. A.R. Maitre sir, respected Principal Dr. A. Chandramouli sir, convener of this workshop, Mr. Sandeep Deshmukh sir, and Dr. Prerna Modak madam, and co-convener of my colleagues. Today, on behalf of the Rashtrapita Mahatma Gandhi Arts, Commerce and Science College family,
बंद आहे तुमचा.
I welcome you all to this one with National Research Meteorology Workshop. Firstly, I would like to wish Dr. A. Chandramouli sir, wish you happy birthday sir. It gives me a warm welcome for everyone present this conference. It's my pleasure to introduce our today's guest, respected Dr. A.R. Maitre sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, Shivaji College, Kannad, East, Aurangabad. Sir is qualified NET in 2009 from CSIR, India. He has done PhD from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad, on title Synthesis, Characterization and Application of Metal Complex of Ligands having N, S or O as a donor atoms. Sir has 11 years of teaching experience as well as 6 years of research experience. He has published around 16 research papers in national, international journals. He has also edited one book published by Harshvardhan Publication Private Limited. Sir has also presented research paper in national level conference. Now, I would like to invite to Dr. A.R. Maitre sir to talk on today's topic, review of literature and address to this conference. Please, sir.
Please, I want to share my screen.
Okay.
Please enable me to share the.
Yes, sir. Yes. Now you can.
Deshmukh sir. Hello.
Sir.
I am audible.
Yes. You are audible.
Okay. Shall we start now?
Yes.
So, very good morning to all of you. I am Atish Mehtre from Department of Chemistry, Shivaji Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kannad, affiliated to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad. Today is the 5th day of the National Research Methodology Workshop, and today's topic is a review of literature. I am very much thankful to Mr. Sandeep Deshmukh sir and A. Chandramouli sir, principal of the college, for giving me this opportunity to present here. Now we'll start our today's topic, that is a review of literature. A very important topic in the research journey, that is review of literature. Just we will see the what is mean the review of literature. Review of literature is a search and evaluation of the available literature in your given subject or chosen topic area. It's a document the state of art with respect to the subject or topic you are writing about. It is a collective summary of particular research from published data which is related to current study carried out by the researcher. It helps to find out what research studies carried out are already known about the research problem and what more has to be done. The review of literature means it gives a overview of your topic, that selected topics for your research. Right? It gives an idea what should do in that particular topic. Right? What are the pathways are there to complete that research? What will be the outcomes? So this type of ideas will come from the review of literature. This is, we can say that a journey through a literature. Review of literature means a journey through a literature of the selected or particular research topic. So this is the review of literature. Now we'll see the purpose of review of literature. Why we write the review of literature? What is the importance of review of literature? Why it is needed? Right? So the purpose of literature is to gain the background of research questions. Right? In the research, firstly we'll choose the research topic. Right? So we have not more idea about that. So to get the more idea about that, its background. So it is very much important point, the review of literature, that gives the background of your research topic. That is, what is the history of your research topic, what research are carried out. Right? Second one is helps to find out what is already known regarding the research question. Right? Many times we don't know about the what research has been carried out in the particular that research area and what should be done. So that will come from your review of literature. Nice. Next one is to identify the concept relating to the potential relation between the and to formulate the researchable hypothesis. Right? So the literature helps to formulate the researchable hypothesis. Yeah. In the past 4 days, you have learned the hypothesis. Right? So many times we start our research, we don't know about the idea of the hypothesis. So what is the hypothesis? What should be it included? So hypothesis is that your outcome of the research that will be come out after your completion of result, that the probability of result, right? So this type of hypothesis of your selected topic that will give idea from your review of literature. The next one, to design the research problem and their methodologies. Also, we can from the review of literature. From the review of literature, we can design the research problem and their methodologies. If you select some research topic, suppose you have selected the synthesis of drug. So what are the ways to synthesis of the drug that we can design by using the review of literature. Then what are the methods to synthesize the drugs. So this idea is from the review of literature. So that is why it is very much important. Right? If you get the design and methodologies, so you will start your research. Right? The next one is to understand the technique of analysis. Yes. When you do your research, at that time you have to analyze that research work. So you get what is your result is correct or not. For that purpose, you have to analyze your research. Right? So what are the techniques are there to analyze your research in your particular topic, in your particular area? For example, in your chemistry, there are different techniques for the analysis of compound, synthesized compound. That is IR, NMR, mass spectroscopy, etc. So you will know from the review of literature what are the techniques are available for your research analysis. Right? So a very good idea you will get from this literature of the technical of analysis of your research. The next one is to avoid the publications. Sorry, to avoid publications, right? So many times we get research topics and we don't know that this research topic is carried out or not. Sometimes what happens, research topic is selected and after the of research work, we know that this topic is already published. Right? So you have literature gives you that whether it is topic is completed or not. This research area is already done or not. So you can avoid your duplications in the research. So next one is several published research papers provide recommendations for further research which can be used to generate the ideas for new research projects. Several research papers you can read in the review of literatures, and in the many research papers there is a recommendation for the further research. So you will get the idea to what will be we can do in the research, right? So you will get the new ideas for the research from this review of literature, right? So in the conclusion, in the many research papers, recommendations are included, and that recommends for the future research, right? So you will get your new research idea from this review of literature. Right? The next one is to identify the data resources. From the review of literature, you will get what are the data resources for your particular research topic. So we don't know many times whether our material will be available for your selected research topic, right? So review of literature gives you the idea whether your research topic will be available for you, right? So it is very much important, because without referencing we cannot put our research, right? So that is why it gives identify the data resources. Yes. So what are the sources? What are the different sites? What are the different journals? The reference books, right? That is available in the of literature. It also helps to compare the results of your research. It also helps to compare of your results, then interpretation of your results. Right? When you complete your research, sometimes you have to compare their result to show that your result is good one than the other one. Right? What are the major importance of your research? You will give by comparing the other research, and that will be available in the review of literature. Then the interpretation of data, it is also very much important thing, right? When you synthesize any compounds, we have to interpret that, okay, how that synthesize, how it is characterized, right? So for the interpretation of this data, we can interpret, synthesize compounds by using the review of literatures. So these are the purpose of the review of literatures. There are more purpose of literatures, but these are the major purpose of the review of literatures. So now you will get the idea what is the review of literatures and why it is important. This needed. It is very much important step in the research journey. When you start the research for your PhD degree, for your thesis dissertations, for your research projects. So when you go from the review of literatures, you will get the many more ideas. You will get the better paths. You will get the better results because of the review of the literature. So these are the purpose of the review of literature. Then the types of review of literature, that is the categories of review of literatures. There are 4 types of review of literature. That is traditional or narrative review of literature, systematic review of literature, third one is meta-analysis, fourth one is meta-synthesis. So these are the 4 review of literatures, 4 types of review of literature. So in the traditional review of literature, there is a summary of literature to draw conclusion about the topic. That means one topic is selected, and that topic it gets summarized, and after summary there is the conclusion drawn from that summary. So that is called the traditional review of literature. The second one is systematic review of literatures. This method uses more well-defined approach, mainly used for making a complete list of all published and unpublished studies relating to a particular topic. Right? In the systematic review of literature, there is a systematic manner of the topics and subtopics. One by one topics is incorporated in that review of literature from the past to the current research. That is why it is called the systematic review of literature. The third one is meta-analysis. This type of review takes large quantitative findings and conducts a statistic analysis to integrate those findings, enhances understanding. So quantitative findings, that is statistic analysis data, is included in the meta-analysis. Okay. And the fourth one is meta-synthesis. This is the non-statistical method used to interrogate and evaluate, interpret the findings of multiple similar quantitative studies to identify the common elements. So these are the 4 types of review of literatures. Then next one is types of resources. There are 3 types of resources. That is the primary resources, secondary resources, and tertiary resources. Sorry, this slide is moving Next one. So primary resources are the written by the person who developed the theory or conduct the research, or is the description of an investigation written by the person who conducted it. The sources are records of events of evidences as they are first described or actually happen without any interpretation or commentary. It is information that is shown for the first time or original materials on which other research is based. Primary sources displays original thinking, report on new discoveries, share fresh information. So primary resources is that the research by these original authors, that the research by the first authors, that are the primary resources for the review of literatures. To write the review of literature, we require the resources. So that three types of sources: that primary sources, secondary sources, and tertiary sources. So primary sources is related to the original research by the first authors, right? The research conducted and written by that authors, that is called as the primary sources. Okay, let us see the example of the primary source. Research articles, that author writes the research articles. That is why it is the first researcher. Nice. That is why research article by the research author. Then patent, the thesis, company reports, government publications, symposium, conference proceedings, original artwork, poems, photographs, speeches, letters, memos, etc. So whatever research is done by that author and write by him, that is called the primary source. Okay. Next one is secondary source. In the secondary source, the research is written by the second authors or second hand informations or second hand informations, right? So in that, the information is taken from the research articles, right? So in that, secondary sources are the review of literatures, journals, magazines. These are the secondary sources for the review of literatures. The next one is tertiary source. These are the sources that index, abstract, organize, compile, or digest other sources. Some reference materials and textbook are considered tertiary resources when their chief purpose is to list, summarize, or simply repackage the idea or either other information. These tertiary resources are usually not credited to a particular artist. Right? The examples of the tertiary sources are dictionaries, encyclopedias, fact books, Wikipedia, bibliographies, guidebooks, manuals, handbooks, textbooks, that may be secondary. So these are the examples of the tertiary sources that we can use for the write the review of literature. The next one is, sorry, one slide is not going to the next one. The next one is resources for review of literatures. Right. So what are the resources to write the review of literatures? To write the review of literatures, there are number of resources are there. The electronic resources, printed resources, journal resources, then encyclopedias, magazines, newspapers. These are the many resources are there to write the review of literatures. The first, if you consider the electronic resources, that electronic resources means resources you are computed from the web, through computer, through internet, right? That is called the electronic resources. Then the printed resources. In the printed resources, there are books, that printed journals, printed periodicals. Right? These are the printed resources available to write the review of literature. Then journals. There are numbers of journals, different journals for different subject areas. Right? So that will be used to write the review of literature. Then encyclopedia, that use an a specific information of the particular topic. Yes. Then magazines, newspapers, these are the resources to write the review of literatures. Now next step is steps for review of literature. So there are 5 steps to write the review of literatures. Right? First step is research topic selections. First of all, we have to select the research topic, right? Then we have to move further, right? So how will you select the topics? First of all, you have to read the material. By reading the material, you will get the idea for selection of the research topic, right? So this is the first step. You will get, by reading the material, you will get an idea what you can do. Yeah. What is your interest? Yes. By assuming your interest, you can select your research topic. Then next one is identify database and resources. As already we have said that many databases and resources available to write of literatures. Right? So how will you identify the databases and resources? By reading review of other review of literatures, you will get the databases and resources. What databases and resources are used in that particular research area. So that will support for your research. That will help to carry out your research. And you can also incorporate that databases and resources in your research topic, in your research writing for references, right? So what are the references are this, and where we can from where we can take, and where it is available. That is the second step, to identify database and resources. Third one is search and refine. The next one is, suppose you have selected your research topic, then you have to search the material on that particular research topic. Right? Then after searching your materials, you have to refine it. Okay, what materials is appropriate for you? You have to select the appropriate materials. Yes. So that is the third step for your review of literature: search and refine. That means whatever your literature is search, that you have to refine it. That what is requirement of your research topic, right? What is it is optimum for your research, right? That will give idea from research and refine. Then fourth step is read and analyze. Right? After searching and refining, you have to read out all the refining materials. Right? After reading the materials, you have to analyze that once. So it will help to design your research work, to design your methodology, to interpret your data, to compare your data. It helps, right? When you analyze all these things, so it will help to compare, to interpret, to present your data. So that is why review of literature is very much important, because after review of literature, you are confident to present your data, to interpret your data. Nice. Yeah, you have strong references for your review of literatures. And then fifth stage is write reviews. Okay, after these four steps, the last step is review of literatures. Your selection of topic, then identify database and resources, your search and refining, read and analyzing. So after all these steps, you can write the review of literatures. Okay, these are the steps of the review of literatures. Actually, what happening? My two slides are going to up. So the structure and content of the review of literature is, there are three content should be included in your review of literatures. First one is introduction.
Sir, Maitre sir. Hello.
Then body review of literature. Then
Hello.
yes.
Maitre sir.
Hello.
हा
बोला
Maitre sir. स्लाइड शो बंद करून दाखवा ना.
Yes, yes.
हा, मग दिसेल कदाचित स्लाइड.
Hello.
हा, स्लाइड शो बंद करा.
Yes, 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 yes.
हा हा.
Okay. So this is the structure and content of the review. Right? What is that? Firstly, in the first section, there is introduction. Then in the second section, there is a body of literature of review. And the third section is conclusion of the review. Nice. So what is included in introduction? What is included in body and what is included in conclusion? Let us see. Introduction. An introduction or background information sections. In this section, you have to define and identify the general topic, issues, or area of concern. The providing appropriate constraint for reviewing the literatures. Point out overall trends and what has been published out about the topic. Nice. Let's demonstrate the importance of research or need for research. Then establish a writer point of view for reviewing the literatures. So in the first section of the in the introductions, we have to introduce the topics. That what is that topic, and what broader area of that topics, what is the importance of that topics, and your view regarding that topics. That should be included in the introductions. Okay. Then next one is body of your review of literatures. So in the body of review of literatures, the body of the review containing discussion of sources. Whatever you have selected the sources, that should be discussed in the body. There is the group research studies or other types of literatures according to common denominators such as quantitative versus qualitative approaches, conclusion of authors, specific purposes, objectives, etc. Then summarize individual studies or articles with as much as little detail as each merits according to its comparative importance. Literatures, revealing that the space denotes the significance. Assist the reader with a strong umbrella sentence at the beginning of paragraphs, signpost throughout, and brief summary sentence at the intermediate points. So this is the structure of the body. So in the body, you have to include what research are carried out about your topics, right? And what they have finds, right? And they have results. Right? Suppose we have take the one example. Your topic is synthesis of drug. So first of all, you have to introduce about the drugs in the introduction area, how it can be synthesized. Then in the body section, you have to write the how many methods are there to synthesize the drugs. What are the pathways are there? What are the difficulties are there? What are the reactions for the synthesis for that particular drugs? For that particular drugs, right? Then next one is your conclusions. The conclusion and recommendation section at the end of your papers, right? Summarize major contributions of the significant studies, articles to the body of knowledge under review, maintaining the focus established in the introduction. Evaluate the current state of art for the body of knowledge reviewed. Point out major methodological flaws or gaps in research, inconsistencies in theories and findings, and areas and issues pertinent to future study. Conclude by providing some insight into relationship between central topic of literature. Right? That we have taken the one examples, synthesis of drug is your topic of your literatures. Then what will be conclusions are this? That conclusions are this. These are the methods by which we can synthesize the drugs. Nice. And these are the methods by which you can synthesize the drugs. These are the conclusions are this. Yes. And this is the third section of the your review of literatures. And after these sections, there is a references. Right? Whatever the sources you have used, that should be in the references. So these are the structure and content of the reviews. That introductions, body, and conclusions. These three parts should be incorporated in your review of literatures. The next one is what points should be considered while writing the review of literatures. Right? When you are going to write the review of literatures, you should be specific, be succinct, right? Briefly state the specific findings listed in an article, specific methodology used in the study, and other points. That means you should be specific to your particular topic when you are going to write a review of literatures. Then you should be selective, right? There are tremendous information regarding your research topics. numbers of articles, numbers of journals, periodicals are there. But for your topic, you should be select a correct researchers topics that is related to a particular research topics. Nice. Okay. That gives an idea of your topics. Nice. Researchers should narrow down a lot of information into a small space for a literature review. Nice. Next one is focus of current topics. In your review of literature, there should be a current research topics. Researchers needs to analyze points such as if it is a current articles. Nice. If your current article is there, so you should consider of the current research topics. If it is not, then you have to provide the evidences of the historical backgrounds. Nice. So generally, in the review of literatures, we have to mostly focus on the current areas, recent topics. Nice. So these are the some points you should be considered while writing the review of literatures. Then ensure the evidences for claims. Right? Researchers should focus on what support is given for claims made in literatures. Yes. The next one is focus on sources of evidences. Researchers should ensure the reliability of the sources of the evidences or other informations. Right? That what sources you are providing in the references, that should be reliable. That is, give the good sources from the good journals. Those have the high impact factors. Right? So that is very much importance. That increase your value of research when you use the good sources for your review of literature. Yes. Then account of quantitative evidences. Does the author take an account quantitative or conflicting evidences and arguments? The next one is a reference citations. Any references cited in the literature review must be included in the bibliography. Many times we make the synthesis in the review of literature, but we are not giving the references to the statements. So that increases the value of that statements. If you're giving the reference to that particular statements, that confirms that statement is a right, because you are presenting on the basis of references. That increase your value of statements. That is why whenever you state any statement in the references, that should be a good references and that should be included in the bibliography. Then next point is avoid abbreviations. Many times we use the abbreviations in the review of literatures. So someone is not your research area, so that researchers will not get the what is by that abbreviations. For example, in our chemistry, you write the ETOH, right? That ETOH means ethanols. In the place of ETOH, you have to write the ethanol and not ETOH in the review of literatures. If you use the abbreviations, so that get confused. Nice. So to avoid the confusedness, you should avoid the abbreviations in the review of literatures. Then make simple and accurate sentence in the review of literatures. A researcher should use simple sentence and must avoid errors of grammars and punctuations. That review of literature, when we're going to write the review of literatures, we use the resources, the research that already carried out in the past. So we should keep in mind that this research is carried out in the past. So what tense or which tense should be used in the review of literature? that you should be considered for historical backgrounds, for current research topics, right? So you have to use the appropriate trends, right? Without any errors of grammars. Yes. So that will be very useful and fruitful review of literatures. Then organization of review of literatures. The review of literature is organized by subtopics or not by individual references. That sometimes what happens, we do the review of literature according to references. But when you going to write the review of literatures, you have to, when you search and refine the materials, after then read and analyze that materials, then you have to choose the topics, what to be first, what to be second one, what to be third. So review of literature should be in a systematic manner that gives a one good impact for your review of literatures, right? From past to the recent studies, right? So it should be right in a systematic way. So that topic should be arranged in a systematic way that impact a good review of literatures. Then referring original sources, right? When you write the review of literatures, so whatever sources you have used to write the review of literatures, that should be your original source. That we have seen there are three types of sources: primary sources, secondary sources, and tertiary sources, right? So you should use the primary resources in the place of secondary or tertiary resources. If primary resources is not available to you, then you can use secondary resources or tertiary resources. That you can see that this is the type of resources. That slides I have not shown to you. That primary resources, secondary resources, and tertiary resources. So you should consider generally primary resources, that because that resources come from the original research that authors who have did that research, right? The reviewer should focus on the citing the material that originates with each reference. This may require a careful reading of references. If the references author refers to another process whose ideas are relevant and interesting, it is better to track and use that original references. That should be concentrated on the primary resources. If primary sources is not available, then you go for the secondary and the tertiary and tertiary. The next one is factors affecting on the literatures. Research backgrounds. When we write the review of literatures, the researcher backgrounds affect on the review of literatures. An experienced researcher find it easy to prepare a review of literature than the beginners, because experienced research have an idea about the topics, a good history backgrounds, known the sources of or the referencing. So if researcher backgrounds have the experience, so that will be good review of literature. Then complexity of the research project. Many times when we select the research topic, but we are confused about that, and some fear about that the research topic. What will be there? What will be happens? Whether it is carried out or not? Okay, whether I will do it or not. So that complexity also affect on the review of literatures. So you should be confident by reading by analyzing, by resourcing, right? So you can write good review of literatures. Then availability of resources is also affect on the review of literatures. Many times researchers do not have the availability of resources like computer, internet, online, offline journals, journal subscriptions, right? At college levels, there is a very less subscription to the journals, right? There is no availability of sometimes internets, computer facilities there. So that is also affect on the review of literatures. Then study time frames. When you goes to write the review of literatures, it requires a good time. That is at near about 1 week to 1 month. Right? After your 5 steps, when you're going to write the review of literatures, that require good times, right? And the other sometimes what happens, we are take to write the review of literatures, and we're keeping that mind we have to complete it within 2 or 3 days. So it is bad things. So review of literature takes uh, optimum times to complete a good review of literature. Then availability of support systems. If there are any, if there are many research scholars involved in the research, then good review of literature can be gathered. Suppose you are carrying out your research work in some research laboratory, and your research topic is related to your colleagues or also your guides. So that is very much feasible for you to write a good review of literatures, because there's some recommendations, some suggestions will comes from your research colleagues and guides, right? There should be a support systems to write a good review of literatures. Then next one is characteristic of good quality review of literatures. So how the quality of review of literature should be there. How what we call the good review of literatures, right? So what are that? The first one is a good review of literature must be comprehensive. It should include up-to-date references. It should be a systematic. It should be a reproducible. Right? That means whatever you have presented your matter in the review of literatures, that should be reproducible. Right? That should be influenced to the research, to the carried out the research work in that particular research area. It should be from bias, right? Many times what happens, we are not agree with the research. Those research are carried out by the researchers, right? So that researchers carried out the research on the basis of the references, and they have presented their research on the basis of references. There should be no biased attitude of particular topic, right? It should be any well written, right? It should be a grammatical sentences, then tense of the sentences, right? And selectiveness, correctness of the sentences. So it should be a well written. Then it should be in the form of some part. So it should be in the form of some parts of its parts. That we have said that review of literature, this should be in a systematic manner by topics, by one. Nice. then it should be clearly searched and selected. Yes, that clearly what you search, you are that should be cleared and selectedly correctly. Then accurate references should be given in the review. That we have said that the strong references from good journals, right? So references should be from the high impact journals or from the good research journals. Okay. So this is the review of literatures. With this, we'll stop here. There is a 10:56. So I think we have to stop at here. I'm thankful to Mr. Deshmukh sir and Principal Chandramouli sir to giving me opportunity to present this topic at here. I hope this is fruitful for you and help in your research journey. And definitely you can do for any topics in your lives, not for only research, business, in agriculture area. When you make a review of literature on particular topics, you will get the better results than the before one. You will get the new ideas, better pathways, better results. So that is why review of literature is very much important thing in the research area. I said that generally, when do any research, first of all, you have to go to the review of literatures and then you go into the laboratory. For the first 6 months, you have to go for the review of literatures, and then you should go to in the laboratory. Right? So once again, thank you to one and all participants. Thank you.
Now the session is open for discussion. If anyone have a query, they can ask question to Dr. A.R. Mehtre sir.
Hello, Deshmukh sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is completed from my side.
Okay, sir. If anyone have query, they can ask question to Dr. A.R. Mehtre sir.
If you have any query, you can ask. Just we will discuss on that particular query. Or you may also contact on the number 942139 5639. Or you can also get my contact from Mr. Deshmukh sir if you want to discuss on any topic regarding the review of literature.
Now I would like to invite Dr. Ragini Patil madam to present the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ashish sir. First of all, I wish you happy birthday to our Honorable Principal, Dr. A. Chandramouli sir. Good morning to one and all present here on 1 week National Research Methodology Workshop on this 5th day. Honorable Dr. A. Chandramouli, Principal and all participants, it is such an honor for me to get the opportunity to thank you all the dignitaries on behalf of Bharat Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Rashtrapita Mahatma Gandhi Arts, Commerce and Science College, Savli, District Chandrapur, Maharashtra. I extend my gratitude to our Honorable Speaker, Dr. Ashish Mehtre, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, Shivaji Arts, Commerce and Science College, Kannad, to take out time from his busy schedule to enlighten the participants on very useful aspects like literature review. Thank you for informative lecture, sir, on this day. A special thank you to Dr. A. Chandramouli sir, Principal RMG Sauli for providing all needful facilities and immense support to make this seminar successful, and extended my gratitude to convener Dr. Prerna Modak, HOD Physics Department, Mr. Sandeep Deshmukh, HOD Chemistry Department, to make this seminar successful. I must thank the organizing team, Dr. Rajeshri Markandevar, Mr. Mukesh Nikhade, Mr. Ashish Shende, for working hard for the past few days to make this workshop successful. Thank you, participants and everyone, for making the great success. Now I call upon Rajeshri Markandevar to continue second session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Maitre sir.
Thank you, one and all, and wish you very happy birthday, Chandramouli sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I, Dr. Rajeshri Markandevar, welcome you to the second session of this fifth day of the National Research Methodology Workshop. I am glad to introduce the resource person for this second session, Mr. Pankaj Modak. He is working as Assistant Professor in Department of Environmental Engineering, AISSMS College of Engineering. He has total 12 years of teaching experience and has several research publications to his credit. Just to mention, 1 national, 10 international, and 4 UGC approved paper presented in conferences. He is also the member of Indian Society of Hydraulics Institute of Engineers, to name a few. He has 3 books published to his credit. He has also organized 1 green technology national level workshop. He has also rendered his services as coordinator for University of Hyderabad entrance examination, as the biogas facility in charge, and as the Department of ERP coordinator. So now let us welcome Mr. Pankaj Modak, and now I hand over the floor to you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving the brief introduction. And I would like to thank the management of Rashtrapita Mahatma Gandhi College of Arts, Commerce and Science for giving me the opportunity to present in this national workshop. I would also like to thank Principal Sir, HOD Dr. Prerna Modak, for giving me this opportunity. Now I'd like to start with my presentation. I'll share my screen. So my topic for the presentation is data collection and research validation. And that is for the 1-week National Research Methodology Workshop. And myself, PR Modak, I am Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering from AISSMS College of Engineering, Pune. So what exactly data collection is?
एवढी फॅसिलिटी आहे तर मला 2 महिन्याची सुट्ट्या द्या.
Data collection is the process of collecting information from all relevant sources. When we are going for research, so we need some data for doing that research. Then going for the testing of the hypothesis, whatever assumptions you have, you want to validate those assumptions, and you want to take those assumptions in our research that will form the basis of our research. So data collection is the most important part in any research. While identifying the problem, while validating that research problem, we'll need to collect some data. So you can classify this data in two forms. One is primary data and then secondary data. Primary data that is collected by the researcher himself, and the data which is not published. So that is nothing but the primary data. And there are different sources for this data collection. So primary data is basically the type of data which is not been published, which is yet to be published. Okay. So it's the unique findings of your research, and the primary data collection will require more time and will be more reliable also. Okay. But if we don't get primary data, then we can obviously go for secondary data, which is already there, which is in the form of literature review. So in the form of literature, it is already present. So you can go for that secondary data also. So firstly, I'll brief you about what is secondary data. The data which is already been published in books, newspapers, magazine, journals, or online websites. They are having in the type of websites or web blogs. So we can refer that, and as well the books are a good source of data collection. So that is covered in secondary data. Then what's the type? There are different types of primary data we can have. We can have the qualitative data, we can have quantitative data. The qualitative data, which is non-numerical, will have some other values other than a number. Quantitative data is basically numerical in nature, and as I said, primary data is collected by researcher himself, and we can use of any method of this data collection, qualitative data or quantitative data. Then there are different tools for this data collection. We have seen those. We have different forms of data collection, forms of secondary data available in the book. Okay. So already, if we are working on some topic, so we can see the literature done, the research done on that same topic, what amount of research has been done, and what can be our scope. In the future scope, it's mentioned here how much research has been done, and up till what we can go. Then as well journals specifically specific information can be taken up from the journals and magazines, newspapers, then websites that are mentioned. So some the trending topic mentioned in magazines and newspapers and electronic media, like you can have it.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, your voice is not clear.
Okay. It's not audible or?
Yeah, it's audible, but some noises are occurring in the.
Okay.
Sir, your voice is not coming.
Yes, ma'am. I've increased the volume of laptop.
Now it's audible.
Yeah. So from these different sources, we can get the secondary data. Then we'll see how the primary data can be collected. There are different qualitative data you can have. You can have the quantitative data. So different tools of data collection we are having. You can see it one by one. What is the question here? Do we want? We'll set a frame. We'll frame a question, and we can have the responses from different participants. We can choose a representative sample from the participants for which we want to have the research. And depending upon the participant, will get the required answers. And interviewing is one of the technique wherein we go for a face-to-face data collection for the from the participants. Then and we can say this data will be unique, and no one will have the access to that data till publishing. Then focus group discussion, we can have some in-depth discussion with a small homogeneous group, that's a representative sample, we can say. And we can have the plain set of questions, as well as we can have the questions at that instant. We can change some questions according to the participant group. Next one. So these are the first three tools for data collection, that is question interviewing, then focus group discussion. Then we have observation. So we can have different observation is we are finding out what goes around us, okay, and we can have more than the just looking or listening, and we can have different forms of observations for our data collection, like casual observation, scientific observation, subjective, objective observation, direct and indirect observation. Different forms of observation we can have, and we can note down those observations. The surveys, it will have a predetermined set of questions that will be given to representative sample. Almost they are similar, but some differences are there in different tools. Surveys will have a predetermined set of questions, and that will be given to the representative sample of participants. Okay. And we can collect large amount of data in surveys. It can be done through face-to-face. We can have collection of data, that is interview form. But here we can have the question at sent, or the data for which answers are required. So through mails or telephones, we can go for surveys. Then there is a case study. Case study is we can refer to the previous case studies, and we can go for the conclusion, or we can go for the methodology, like our research work. That's how we can apply the case study to our research work. Then diaries. Diaries are the forms which we give to the participants, and they will fill the responses as per their choices, and that will be mentioned in a diary. That's a self-administered forms are given to the participants. Then next tool of data collection is activity sampling. Yeah. Now, what's activity sampling? So it's a technique. We can have don't call that as a tool. Call it as a technique of data collection. And what it is used for predicting the time consumed by any activity. So whenever we go for any time-based study or activity-based study, then we can go for this activity sampling technique. So we have to observe what are the different processes involved and what is the time consumed by each activity during the process. And we can have it won't be taken at regular intervals, the observations, but some at some random time intervals. And each observation will record what's happening and what are the percentage of observations. Then next one, that is memo motion study. That is a technique wherein the measurement is done using a motion picture camera. You will have to click the photographs and according to the photographs and as per the requirement of our research, we'll have to analyze those pictures. Okay. So that's memo motion study. Then next one we have process analysis. So process analysis is nothing but the description of the business processes. It is mostly done in the research done for business, what processes we are adopting, and they are giving input to us in the form of profits. And they are giving outputs in the form of profits or not. That we have to see. That is the process analysis. That is a technical description of the business processes. Then link analysis. We have to assess the relationship between various objects like different organizations, different people, different transactions. Okay, so we have to establish some relationship between those objects like organizations, people, and transactions. That is the link analysis. Then we have time and motion study. So again, we have to find out the time required for carrying out any activity. And here the purpose is different. So we need to check the efficiency of people and equipment. Okay, therefore we find out the time activity during the process. Okay. That's the purpose to find and equipment. That's time and motion study. And we have next data collection is experimental method, wherein we have two variables. One is independent variable and one is dependent variable. Independent variable is which we are going to change. Okay, those values we are going to change, and dependent variable is the one wherein the effect of that change has to be studied. Okay, that we are manipulating one parameter and seeing the effect of that change on the second parameter. That is your dependent variable. And that's the thing done in experimental method, and we have to note the outcomes. Then statistical method, you can also go for a statistical method when there is large number of data is available and we have to sort out that data. Okay, so how to go for sorting out that data? So we can go for finding out the different statistical values like mean, standard deviation, okay, and that is what is descriptive statistics. And we can also go for inferential statistics, wherein the data will be subjected to variation, and from that we need to conclude the things which data to have. So in statistical methods, we are having two methods: descriptive statistics, wherein mean, standard deviation are found out, and second one, that is descriptive statistics, and inferential statistics. We have to find out the variations in the data, and depending on those variations, we have to conclude, that is, we have to take we can calculate which data we are going to have. So these are the tools for data collection. Then if we have the data with us, then we can find out if that data is valid or not. What data we are using, that is valid or not. We can have one exercise. If the system, if there is one system, and in that system we will be finding out the requirement validation, design verification. Then we'll validate the design and we'll verify the system, whatever system we are having, that is valid or not. Okay. So what is requirement validation? What we have to see there. So basically, requirement validation is ensuring that validation of requirements is complete. Whatever the requirements, we have to write them and we have to find out whether those requirements of that system are complete, clearly mentioned requirements are there. If the requirements can be met, so the feasibility of that requirements can be checked, then those requirements are related to the system, working of the system, okay, and in the intended environment. Okay, whatever inputs are given, what are the process condition, environmental conditions that we have to check, and according to that we have to write the requirements. Okay. Then that is requirement validation. Then we have to go for the design. We have to verify the design. Okay. Design verification will ensure that the design complies with the requirements. Whatever requirements are there, if those requirements will be satisfied, that we have to check in the design. Okay. Then you have to validate the design. That will be the verification key. Your design meets the requirements or not. Then design validation, we have to ensure that design matches the intended use of the system and fulfills the user needs. Okay, we'll have to keep in mind we'll have the raw material, will process that raw material to make a product will be used up by the customer, and we have to check whether the design fulfills the customer needs and also the requirements. Okay. Then lastly, system verification. So whatever system we have designed, so that compliance with the requirements and the design, okay, that we have to find out. Okay. Whatever system we have designed, that is in line with the requirement and uh, the design criteria, we can say. So basically, validation is nothing but we have whatever outcome we are having from the data process outcome, and that outcome has to be based on strong evidences. Okay. So that is nothing but the validation. We want to prove the outcome is valid, okay, or it is supported by strong evidences. Then we have to go through these different forms of validity in research validation. That is conclusion validity, then internal validity, and construct validity, and external validity. Okay. We have to answer some questions. Okay. In conclusion validity, whatever outcomes we are getting, those are correct or not. Then internal validity, to have I used the correct data collection method. Okay. Then construct validity, whatever variables I have, independent variable, dependent variable. So have I established the relationship between those variables, and that relationship is correct or not? I have to check. That is construct validity. And then external validity. So can I generalize this validity for similar topics which which I have, so the topics which are similar to my topic, so can I generalize that results, the outcomes for that similar topics which I have researched. So this is data collection. and then the research validation. I'll briefly summarize what I've told to data collection and validation. Primary data I have, which is collected by the researcher, which is unique to my research and which is not yet been published. And then secondary data, the data is already there in the literature and different forms, so maybe books, journals, sites, or blogs, which is there in the electronic media. Then what are the forms of data collection? So I've described some are then we have qualitative data and quantitative data. Qualitative data in the form like parties related to participant. What participants we have for that data collection? So it will depend on that. It's a perception of that participant, maybe in the form of feelings, maybe in the form of index. Okay. Some index good, bad, moderate. Then quantitative data, which is numerical data, and we can easily identify and validate that data, and we can go for data analysis. Then prime data tools, again we have questionnaire, then case studies, interviews, and focus group discussions, time-based study, motion study, or your statistical methods are there, experimental methods, then process analysis, link analysis, different forms of data collection. Then last point for was validation. We have to validate the process, what methodology we are adopting, and what process we are having. Okay. So in that we have requirements. We want to fulfill the requirements of the system, and then we want to design the system as per the requirements and the end user requirements. Okay. Then lastly, what questions I have to ask during the research? So that is conclusion validity, internal validity, construct validity, and external validity. So these things we have to have. Like conclusion validity, are my outcomes correct? Whatever we get after the data analysis. Internal validity, that I used the correct data collection method. Construct validity, that is have the relationship between the independent variables and dependent variables established is correct. And external validity, can I generalize my research work based on the results? Okay. Can I apply it to the similar research work? So that's it from my side. If you have any queries, I'll be happy to answer. Day-5 sir, or one of my. That's it from my side. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this workshop and allowing me to present my ideas.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now the session is open for discussion. If students have any question, they can ask. Now I invite Dr. Ragini Patil to propose the official vote of thanks.
On behalf of Rashtrapita Mahatma Gandhi Art, Commerce and Science College, I extend thanks to Honorable Speaker Mr. Pankaj Moda, Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering in ISS College Engineering, Pune. I extend my gratitude to Honorable Dr. Chandramouli Sir, Principal, Rashtrapita Rashtrapita Mahatma Gandhi College, Savli. Thank you to all participants once again for making this event very great, successful. Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
It's conference.
Hello.
Hi, already, sir.
Okay. Parts.
Hello.